Hey guys, welcome to the Property Panel Podcast. This week you got myself, Jalen Hardcastle here. Josh and Ethan are busy, obviously wrapping up a few of their big moments over the last few weeks. So, we want to give a big shout out to them. Look forward to seeing them in weeks to come. Hopefully get back on a little bit of a normal schedule. But for now, I want to continue to bring you the latest and greatest. But before we jump into today's topic, let me give a thanks to our title sponsors. So obviously we have Collier Title Company. They do deed prep, title work, closings, and much more. They're located out of Louisville, E-Town, and Brandenburg, and you can reach them at 270-763-6589. And then for this week, we got We Buy Houses, which obviously is me and Josh. You can reach us at 270-422-1331. And we will basically give you a cash price for your house, close in 2 weeks. It doesn't matter the situation, condition. We've even in previous times worked with mortgage companies that the home value was less than what they actually owed on the home. And we were able to secure a deal that were good for the homeowner and the mortgage company to keep them and prevent them from going into foreclosure. So, like I said, we also do the list price. So, obviously you're going to be able to get more if we were to list it, but you're going to pay more in realtor fees. You're going to wait a little bit longer for that home to sell, as well as usually have a longer closing timeline. So we got multiple options for you, which we will discuss later in the show. Today we're going to be going over basically the NAR update, because we haven't heard much about that recently. And then obviously we want to dive into a little selfless promotion, for Cedar Hill Properties, let you know what we have to offer, where we've grown since opening up shop in 2019. So pretty exciting episode, pretty laid back. Like I said, just myself again. So bear with me if I mess up, make a few mistakes, or have a few awkward silences. We're working through this and look forward to having Josh and them back on the show shortly. But obviously, if you do want to sponsor, like I said, we haven't had many sponsors lately because we've been pretty busy and didn't feel like we were giving you what you deserve. So we want to kind of do, a little promotion for our investment company as well. So it kind of was the best of both worlds with us being so busy here lately. But we'll be diving to you guys to look for more sponsors here soon and continue revamping this podcast room. Obviously, we got a LED sign that we want to put up. We want to do some LED lights all around, the room and stuff here. So revamp the producer station a little bit. So yeah, we got some exciting things in the work, and we're looking forward to do that. If you or anyone would like to be a weekly, monthly, or yearly sponsor, you can give us a call at 270-422-1331, and that's 100 weekly, 300 monthly, and 3,000 yearly. And you're advertised on our intros, outros, as well as intermissions, as well as all social media platforms. And we're on about 5 or 6 different platforms now, accumulating 2,000 to 3,000 views per week. And I do see that number growing here in the near future. Like I said, we've been kind of stagnant the last couple of weeks with how busy we've been. But I look forward to producing some more content and growing our follower base. And we actually do have a giveaway on TikTok right now. So we're trying to reach 100 followers on there. And once we do, we will be giving away a few Property Panel podcast shirts. It'll be similar to this one. We'll have a pocket logo as well as a back logo. And obviously, we'll be able to fit to size for that winner. I think we're going to give away 2 or 3 different shirts at that time. So I don't know if we'll pick one winner or 3 different winners. Obviously, we want to see y'all supporting the channel and wearing the merch, helping us get our name out there. So you let us know in the comments what you guys would like to see. We'd be happy to accommodate. But yeah, I guess let's go ahead and dive into today's topic. Obviously, like I said, this is episode 25. So there's only 52 weeks in the year. Next week will be episode 26, and we'll officially be at this thing for a full 6 months. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't stay at too many things other than work. So it's pretty impressive for me and Josh to be able to come in here week in and week out and give y'all the latest and greatest in real estate. And it feels like a big accomplishment for me personally, just because, like I said, I don't stick to one thing too often. So this is pretty neat, and it's something I enjoy, and it's not only something that I think is very useful for you as buyers and sellers, but it's also useful as me as a realtor, because I'm coming in and reading up, learning new things in my professional community, which helps me better serve my clients. So I think that's very beneficial for all of us as a whole, and as well as even getting some of the people we work with, as far as like Collier Title, Chad Gooden, John Taylor, a few of those other names to mention, that we work with hand in hand almost, weekly, on a weekly basis. Very common to work with them. So we want to give a big shout out to them later in the show. But yeah, I'm going to kind of dive in before we do get to the NAR update, because that's something that should be quickly approaching from what we've heard earlier this year, but it seems to have been pushed to a deadline or pushed to extend the deadline a little bit. So there's still room for negotiation there, it seems. But yeah, so basically today we're going to obviously talk about that, but I want to tell you about Ethan's house. I know we've been saying that he's going to be coming on soon. He's been diligently working. His wife, actually him and his wife are going to be getting married similar to Josh and his wife over the next coming months. So they actually was gone on their respective trips for the Bachelorette weekend, and they had a great time there. And this week, they just need a little bit of time to relax, unwind, and prepare for what they're about to endeavor in the next few months. So hopefully in the next week or two, we will see Ethan's house. Like I said, he did just finish it, so we'll see that before and after. Ask him a few questions, see how he enjoyed his first flip and how he feels being a first-time home buyer, because that's pretty exciting, and he did it at an early age. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to see the grind, and I want to show that, it's not just magical. Everyday people can do this too if you set yourself up for success. But you do have to push it, and you do have to start, grinding from an early age. It's not something that happens overnight. So even if you're going to college or if you're going straight to the trades or something right out of high school, I would demand to have a plan in place. I know a 5-year plan is very important, and even yearly plans and yearly goals. I know at previous jobs we used to do, I forget what it's called, but we'd cut out like this big cardboard box, and we'd go like cut out stuff like you used to do in school, like collages, but it'd be like a dream board, I think is what we called it. And you'd put your car you wanted, your house, however much money he was planning to make, just good goals. And, you look at it periodically throughout the year and just remind yourself to stay on task. So that's something that I recommend doing fresh out of high school or right before you graduate, because, it's also cool to look back in 5 years and see, wow, that's what I really wanted to do with my life, because I know it changes for a lot of people pretty commonly. So, weigh your options and, try what you can. But obviously, before we get into the NAR update too, I want to talk about a little market update. I know we just did one, the second quarter update like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but summertime's a little slower, and we've been getting an influx of listings here lately, and the supply is still lower than the demand, believe it or not. Summertime is always a little slower as far as listings go. You have a lot of people in and out of school, on vacations, and just life gets busy. You want to enjoy the summer how you can. So usually the one of the slower times of the year, despite what most people think, is actually summertime when kids are out of school. Their parents want to maybe not make the transition in the middle of the summer and get settled in school before they start making those drastic changes. But the market as far as listings has slowed down a little bit, but I also think it's still where those sellers are at. Obviously I've been given market value for these houses, and I think if we list just a tad under or right at, we're going to get over list price. But whenever we list a little bit over list price, it takes about 2 or 3 weeks, I've seen, to be getting those offers in our area, and they tend to go for a little less than price because they ask for those concessions, and it's been on the market for a little bit. So there's a few different ways to get to the finish line, but obviously still ask a professional because they got the best advice for you. But yeah, hold on. Today I wanted to get into the topic, the NAR update. So what is the NAR update? If you haven't heard in our previous episodes, basically NAR came out with a settlement that they were going to prohibit agents listing on the MLS, the multiple listing services where we list all of our listings, not allowed to show buyer's agent commission or seller's agent commission. So basically that would mean that your buyer's agent is not guaranteed a commission. It's all negotiable at that point. And there's pros and cons around it. But basically, before we get into the pros and cons, it was supposed to go into effect in June or July of 2024. And now we're here, and we've heard less and less about it as the times actually approach, which I thought we would end up having the opposite effect and hearing more and more about it. But apparently the DOJ has actually pushed it back to September. And I don't think it's necessarily, as far as for election goes, for one of the candidates to use that, because I don't think a lot of people are on the head of that front. I don't think they're really listening and know how important that is for all of us as a whole, because that is one of our biggest investments. But to my point, I don't think, some people have said, well, I think it's so-and-so can, get on that pedestal and try and push that front. I don't think any political official is going to use that as one of their fronts to run, because I don't think enough for a majority of the people that care are even actually paying attention to that, which is sad to see. Not saying that it's not important, because for us, this could potentially change the real estate game as a whole. And like I said, there are pros and cons. It's unknown if it will get pushed through for sure. Like I said, it was supposed to be in July. Now it's September. Who's to say in the next few months we'll hear less about it and it'll end up kind of dissolving out. I know in those, bigger brokerages, it might take more of effect, like those Remaxes and stuff like that, because obviously you're going to have to get behind with what those branches might discover and rules that they might put in place because of that. And you want to make sure that you're protected. And the same for these agents. I know we talk a lot how that 2-year mark is where a lot of agents might end up kind of falling out or falling off because they might not be producing what they were wanting to. I think this will kind of start to weed out those agents a little sooner. I see it common again. Less and less agents are actually doing the agency relationship agreement, which is, basically stating that you're that agent. And I think that that's going to come into play tremendously in those agents that aren't up to date and up to par on, the laws and what we are obligated to do, are going to get fallen and left behind. So there's pros and cons. I think that it won't change much for agents that are dedicated and willing to work. And also I think it'll be able to split a difference in those negotiators, because I know that negotiating factor is tough. And, a lot of agents will get out of it because they'll be like, well, it's your decision. It's the seller's decision. I'm just here to – no, we are negotiators. And if we're not negotiating on behalf of our clients, then what are we really there for, other than to write up a few contracts? But yeah, like I said, that agency relationships is a must. It will weed out the bad and unmotivated agents. And there are pros and cons. And honestly, I need to read up on it myself more. And as we get closer, I guess, to September now, we will do a more in-depth episode on this. And even if, more news comes out, if laws change, or if we hear a major update in this situation, we will come to you live and try to give you the latest information on that as well. But beside the point, obviously, thank you to the NAR update. NAR is great. Obviously, it's the National Association of Realtors, and to be a part of that is pretty impressive because we're held to a higher standard, obviously, with the code of ethics and stuff like that, and we got to fulfill our fiduciary duties to each and every client individually. And there will be times where we'll represent both sides of the deals, but we do have to have our fair and our duties in place, and it does get tricky, but it's not impossible. And I feel like I work really well doing that. I tend to become a dual agent in some cases just because I have those off-market deals, which, allows me to kind of funnel these buyers into one area, which is helpful. So, that's a little selfless plug for me, but let's move on to Cedar Hill Properties. So obviously that's where we all work. It's a pretty poppin' place, as you can see. I love our logo, and a lot of people don't know the backstory. So before I kind of get into Cedar Hill Properties, I want to tell you where we got our name. Obviously, right here, we're located off 2345 Ode Mill Road in Brandenburg, Kentucky. And for those that don't know, that's off 1638 right there. That connects from Dixie to the bypass. And we're right past Doe Valley if you're heading toward Dixie on the right. And what's special about this place is my family lives around here, Gaines Road, Lees Road, Willers Lane. And we're actually building back here as well as my mom. So this area holds a special place in my heart. And then actually my great-grandpa used to own the house that was right down from this building. And this building's been everything under the sun you can name it. It's been a daycare, coffee shop, bar, Lord knows what else, since it's been in business and been standing. It's even caught on fire a couple times, and we actually still have the original cooler from when it was a bar, so that's pretty cool. But that's where we did get our name. So this establishment was originally Cedar Hill Tavern. So this was a bar located off 1638 back in the early 80s. And I remember my great-grandpa and my grandpa, my grandpa was young at the time. My great-grandpa would bring him up here. He'd meet his other buddies with, while his other parents were drinking and carrying on dancing. And actually, right here in our podcast room, this was where the dance floor was. So this was the party room in a sense, So maybe that's why we have some good times in here, some good vibes whenever we're doing the podcast. But yeah, that's essentially where we get our name. It was Cedar Hill Tavern, and we wanted to keep some of the history in this building with us. And, that's where Cedar Hill Properties came from. And it's kind of funny. So me and Tyler Carter's, one of my lifelong friends, but he's also turned into a business partner. He's been a roommate with me, and now we're co-workers and investors, partners as a whole together, even with property management, what have you. We have so many endeavors together, and I appreciate him tremendously. But I remember when we first started real estate, we started in 2016, and we started at Stonegate. And I remember me and Tyler, we loved it there. We loved it. But my mom, she was doing really well, but she always wanted a little more. And we kept on trying to push her. We was like, open up your own business, open up your own business. So, I could tell she didn't want to, but she gave us the opportunity. She was like, write me up a 5-year plan. And I was like, okay. I was like, Ty, let's get on this really quick. So we ended up, literally from every person that we had in our family, we found different ways. They even had regular jobs. I remember my stepfather at the time, and it's crazy looking back, 7, 8 years later from what we wrote on this piece of paper to what's actually came to fruition. And that's why I'm serious about putting your goals out into the universe and being positive and just continuing that positive mindset, is because it'll come to fruition. God gives and God loves, and you just have faith and he will provide. And that's one thing that we did. We constantly just revisited that page. It would pop up as many times as I thought got thrown away. When I cleaned my office, I'd find it again, and it would just bring a smile to my face. And especially more and more as the things came to fruition, as they started happening. Like I said, my father-in-law, or my stepfather, he was a pipe fitter at the time, and I was like, this man's going to be our everything guy, And then even Brandon, Tyler's brother-in-law, and so on and so forth. So many of these guys we had on this, and we was thinking about calling it, I think, the Dream Team or Real Deal Realty, something like that, something crazy, which we ended up having a way better name 5 years later, thankfully. But anyways, on this paper, we wrote out all these people and what their moving parts would be in these relationships, and it's come full circle over in 8 years, and it's pretty impressive. It's great to see the community that we've built and working relationships that we've built with, not only us and other companies and other working parts, but also other real estate companies. As far as, people locally here, we got good friends at All About Homes, Drew Coppage. We got, Caitlin Allen at Remax, Amy Chisholm, Lacey over there at Stonegate, Jeremy Jackson. We got a great community of realtors here in our area, and that's what it's all about. Obviously, we are competing, but it's a friendly competition, and we do all have to work together. So it is important to have those relationships in place to make those deals run as smoothly as possible, because obviously if you're not very fond of someone, and you got that negative outlook on the deal or that person, that is going to transition into your work. So I always try to stay positive, and I'm straight to the point. And some people might take that as being a little bit rude or what have you, but I'm very to the point with work. I like to have fun, and I am that guy, but at the same time, I want to get this deal done, and work is work, and I should keep those separate. So I do love you guys, and if I do seem like an asshole, I apologize, but I really just want to get the deal done into the closing table, and I'm confident I can do that if we stay on my plan. So sometimes we do have to take, and like I said, it's good to see other perspectives, because you learn off those things too, which is always really neat. But yeah, back to Cedar Hill Properties. We started in 2019. It was just my mom, Tyler, and myself that started here 3 years ago. And us three started with 12 rentals. We're the owners of the property management company here at Cedar Hill. We started with 3 rentals whenever we left Remax. Or us three started with 12 rentals. I'm sorry, 12 rentals, and now we're up to 160 units across 3 or 4 counties. And then obviously we got Airbnbs and stuff like that on top of that. So we're really a full service real estate company here, as far as investing, renting, property management, commercial, residential, industrial. It really doesn't matter. We pretty much got it all for you, whether it's raw land or new construction, or even fixer uppers. We literally go everywhere. And like I said, it's pretty impressive to think in 5 years we have grown over 150 rentals. I mean, that's impressive enough. And I don't look back, and we don't look back and pat ourselves on the back enough and see how far we've came, but we do like to put it on paper and brag about it whenever we're showing our clients, because it is impressive, and we're going to show that we do have those results to support our actions. So we do feel like we're the best in the business, and we have the numbers to compete with some that have been here for years and years, and that have name brands known worldwide behind them, to start a mom and pop essentially, and to be competing. Like on this next stat, I think our first year, me, my mom, and Ty, we put in close to like 15 to 20 million in volume, which is impressive for 3 people. But now, we're upwards 30 plus million every year, and we're growing. We're selling more and more real estate every year. Even on our bad years, we're still selling more. So I know last year I had one of my lower years in real estate because I was more focused on investing and getting my rental portfolio up. So my commissions kind of lacked, but at the same time, our office as a whole had grown, another 3 or 4 million from the previous year. And, we've had some agents, leave. We had some agents show up, but, I think we've had more agents, come and stay rather than we've had leave. I think we've maybe had total 2 agents leave, One wasn't from this area, a good family friend, and we still work well with him to this day, but it made more sense for him to be more localized in his area where he could pursue and succeed a little easier. And then we had one also that started another venture that we still love and hang out with as well. So even though that they've left this company, they've turned into lifelong friends. And that's kind of the atmosphere that we strive for here, is a family-friendly atmosphere, and just we all want to help each other. And there are times where some of us are busy and some of us aren't. So, if I need to pick up a house showing for someone or someone needs to pick one up for me, we're very open to do that. And, we're not going to let our clients lack just because we're assessing other clients or what have you. We have lives too, but we're going to make sure that you're taken care of because that is our fiduciary duty. So actually in total at Cedar Hill Properties too, we have 8 agents now. Obviously you got me, Josh, and Ethan. That's 3 of us. But then you got Kurt, Claycomb, Ashley Williamson, and then you have Tyler Carter, obviously, and Jennifer Rhodes, our broker. Then we got some Emily Williams, my sister-in-law, and then Aaron Goodwin, which is a broker of another Cedar Hill Properties as we're starting to grow. And we have 3 property managers, like I said, me, Tyler, and my mom. Jennifer. We've been doing that for about 5 years, growing that over 150 from what we've brought here. And it's awesome. There's not a day goes by that's the same. And that's why I really love this job. I think that I get a new feeling week in and week out. I get new sites, new ventures, meet new people. And it's the dream job for me. Obviously, I grew up doing this, so it was kind of in my blood. But this wasn't what I expected to do coming out of high school. I knew it was a fallback plan in a sense for me, not what I was going to do. So to see me doing it now, quitting college the day that I go and now becoming one of the top agents in the county is very awesome, and I have to dedicate it to my family. Obviously, I got my Uncle Marty, who's been super motivated and helped my mom out over the years. And then I got my mom, which is one of the top agents in our area, and she continues to punch new records and hit new goals every year. And it's so motivating to see that when you put in the work, you can succeed. And that's just what I was taught and raised on, and I'm pretty excited to put that down and show that it's not just a fluke. I'm here to do it too. A lot of people think things were given to me, and that's not always the case. Obviously, I have a lot of help, and I'm appreciative of that, and I respect the ones that have helped me. But I never claim to do it on my own. I admit we have a great team around us, and if it wasn't for this team, none of us would be where we are. So, and that's what it takes to have a full service real estate company like we do have. And then obviously we have 2 office managers. Tyler is like a one size fits all. He literally does it all. He's a property manager, a realtor, office manager, assistant. Drone photographer. It don't matter. He will do it all. He's even wrote contracts for me. He's shown houses for me. Literally anything you need, Tyler's the man. And then we just brought on Brittany Lee, an old Cox's buddy, and she's one of our office managers. She was working a couple days a week, and then we're just so busy we realized, hey, we need you full time too. So she's been with us for the better part of a month or 2 now, and she's really fitting in, and it's good to have some old friends. We grew up camping together with our families, and now to see her in here, it definitely spices it up, and we like her having her here, and she's been very helpful. Of course, we're slobs, so she likes to keep us a little tidy. But obviously we have a huge team of working relations. Like I said, if it wasn't for everyone that we work with and everyone we can come together and ask questions with, as far as, title companies, lenders, home inspectors, the whole 9, even our investors, for people that are needing repairs, or if I need to get a contractor out there to give me an estimate for a repair request, what have you, we got the people for that. And I just want to give a big shout out to the people that we use primarily. Obviously, Collier Title, one of our title sponsors. Definitely, I use them primarily. There's very rarely that I don't, but obviously it's not my decision. But if I want a deal to close quickly and I have any say, so that's who I'm going to recommend. And then obviously our other title sponsor that currently can't be at the moment for reasons undisclosed, Chad Gooden. He is one of the best lenders in our area. He is the very first lender I closed a deal with in 2016. And he's moved through 2 companies now over the years, and I followed him to each one. And I've never seen anyone provide the service that he does. And I couldn't speak higher of any other lender in our area. That we do have a lot of great lenders, don't get me wrong, but I can literally call Chad at 9 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock at night. If my client needs approved, if we're writing an offer, Chad's there for it, and I appreciate him tremendously. And it's someone that I can see outside of work too. We fished together, we've had a few beers together. He's came to our office parties, our wedding. He was even there for. I love Chad. I love his family, and I'm excited to continue to do work with him in the future. And it does pain me to not mention him every week here on the show, but do know that we do still appreciate him, and he's still the go-to. So if you are looking for anything loan-wise, go to him. He actually has a more wider variety of loan types that he can do now with his new move, and I think you'll be excited to see what he has to offer. But then obviously we got John Taylor. He's one of my primary home inspectors. He does a really thorough job, and I think that we broke him into getting those reports out quickly, because the previous 2 or 3 reports I've had have been almost immediately, and he used to take a little longer to get to, which was the only downfall with him. But he does a tremendous job, and it was worth the wait, because you want someone that's going to check it thoroughly and make sure that they don't miss nothing. But I don't know if he's got a few more team members in there, some more staff working for him, but he's been putting those babies out, and we've been very appreciative of that. Very, one day held up on things is 2 days on the ass end of closing. So it's good to get those repair requests in quickly. And I think the most previous one we did, he went and inspected it, had the report the same day, and I had the repair request sent out. And, this was all within 3 days of contract. I had all the inspections and repair requests ready to go. And most people will wait 7 to 15 days to even get your repair request. And then you got to negotiate 3 days if you can't come to an conclusion. At the end of the day, you're holding it up 60, 75 days, which is not necessary. Let's go ahead and get those ordered as soon as we get acceptance within 12 to 24 hours. And let's get them out there that same week. Then obviously we got E-Town Exterminating. We love to use them. They do us really solid up there. And they're obviously going to come do your termite inspections and stuff like that. We got, like I said, a bunch of well-known investors, and they help us with those repair requests. We got contractors that we go and work on our houses week in and week out, so we trust them, and we know that they're not just going to give us some, bullcrap invoice just to get some money in our pockets or money's in someone else's. We always have the guys for the jobs, and the same thing with the investors, and with us being savvy investors as well. And then my Uncle Marty being, growing up with Kentucky land and starting his business and now doing his own thing. We have those deals for those off-market things. So that's why I think that we can stay ahead of the market versus those other companies. And I think that that's what really our niche is here, is that investment market. And obviously we know how to utilize our resources. And I think it shows tenfold. And that's why people want to give us a call at Cedar Hill Properties. And then obviously I think a big thing too, a lot of companies in our area, they're only licensed in Kentucky. We're a 15-minute drive from Indiana. Why would we not be licensed in Indiana? So we do have those resources too. That opens up a plethora of new homes on the market. And, I know sometimes that the cost of living can be a little cheaper over there. So I've actually had clients prefer to live over there but still work right here across the bridge. So we just wanted to open up our, options and give you guys the best service that we can. So there we go on that as well. And then obviously, like with Chad and other people, we do have a credit recovery program. So basically, if you're on the verge or you just are wanting to get approved, soon or within the next couple of years, it doesn't matter. We can get you on that right program. A lot of times it's a 6-month recovery program. I think you have to be around that 550 to 580 mark, because I know they can start approving you at 580 depending on everything else. But, if something, collection or debt or whatever, maybe your credit, job history, they'll get you on the right program to get you to succeed on the quickest rate. And then obviously we can get you approved with little to no money down, especially for first-time home buyers, especially in the beginning of the year. I know a lot of times we can still 0% down, especially with seller-paid closing costs. But I think that's important. A lot of people don't know. They're scared. They're like, oh, I'm going to have to put 10, 20% down. And now with homes, on the cheap side, $200,000, which is crazy to say, but it is. It's tough for people to afford $20,000, to put down. So to have those extra loan programs and those government-funded and assisted loans, it helps first-time home buyers and buyers alike just to get themselves in and, get a little piece of that financial freedom. And then also, like I said, with Marty and being in Kentucky land and then, having his foot in the door there for the better half of 20, 30 years, he's become a master at contract for deed, rent to own, with if you will. And so we do have those options in place. They're more far and few between on those cases, but we do have those. But we do require still a good chunk down. Yeah, your credit might not be good, but if you can save up, we can help you out. I think we typically require 10 to 20% down. But then that home's in your name, and you can decide what you want to do with it. If you can sell it for more money, make a profit, that's awesome. We're obviously making a profit at what we have it listed at as well. And then it also protects us if you were to fault out. In that case, we would regain ownership of the home. And I think some people, especially nowadays, look at it more shady when it's really not. It just is what it is. People can't afford some homes, and this is the option that they can go. So whenever we get those homes back, sometimes I think people don't see both sides to that, but ultimately we're still, owners of the house and until that loan's paid off. So, we obviously have to be compensated for that if someone's not going to pay. And then we do have something new with Cedar Hill Properties. I don't even know if it's really allowed for me to mention yet, but we're going to start building. I think that we got a few spec homes that are in the process of breaking ground as we speak. And then I think over the next couple of years, we're going to be offering custom home builds. Jennifer and myself are actually building down here back off the office road. So that's going to be our kind of more custom ones that we're practicing. But we definitely got 2 spec ones going up, and I look forward to seeing those on the market in months to come. Basically, like with that being said, we are a one-stop shop. You buy, sell, rent, repeat. That's what we want you to do. We want to give you the most access to financial freedom we can. So just give me a call whenever you're ready, and we'll be able to help you no matter what it is. And then for a quick summer market update, I think we already kind of discussed that, as it is a little slower in the summertime. People are moving and grooving. They're trying to have a good time. So, let's wait till August before, we do any price drops. I think the interest rates are going to come down a little bit more. So, continue to see that, but prices will rise at that time. So don't get discouraged if your house isn't moving fairly quick at the moment. It is summertime. But yeah, I guess that's all I have for you today. Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe. It helps tremendously, and it's a free way for you guys to help us out here at Cedar Hill Properties. And before I tune off, I want to give a thanks to our title sponsors. So Call Your Title, I want to give a thanks to you. They do deep prep, title work, closings, and much more. They're located out of Brandenburg, Louisville, and E-Town. And you can give them a call at 270-763-6589. And then for this weekly ad sponsorship, it's obviously We Buy Houses. Me and Josh, you can give us a call at 270-422-1331. That'd be greatly appreciated. We thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week.